Okay, I am traveling right now, guys. I am in Europe, but I was just so interested in making a video because I have some really important information to share about these two stocks and what my thinking is on how I make stock picks. Okay, so this week, Palantir reached an all-time high. Maybe it was the end of last week, and their 5-year chart looks like this. Okay, so it's gone parabolic in the end of 2024 into 2025. On a 5-year time period, we have a 1,200% return. Insane. Okay, it reminds me a lot of the Nvidia 5-year chart, where we have a 1,500% return almost. Bonkers. This is bonkers stuff. Okay, so why am I comparing these two? I am comparing these two because the stock prices are now the same, relatively speaking. And I trade both of these stocks. I trade both of them. Palantir is now trading in just a completely new range of price. I started trading it when it was down here in the 38s and in the 25s, and now it's just become such a behemoth in stock price that I can trade it sort of less often because it takes up more capital. When it takes up more capital like this, I start to be a little bit more concerned with what the risk profile is for the stock in general. And what cued off in my brain to compare these two is that the stock price of these two, again, are relatively the same. So that made me think, okay, well, which stock has more risk to it? And am I comfortable with the risk profile of going ahead and trading this stock more or less for both of these stocks? Okay, so what I did was I used my stock buying system, the 5-step system, which I'm sure you all are familiar with, but if you're not, dig in the YouTube and go look for it. And I looked at the charts, right? Okay, I already know what these companies do. They're both involved in AI. Okay, and then the financials. This is what really was enlightening for me. Okay, so I look at the total revenue and I look at the gross profit, and I always look to make sure that these numbers are going up, and they are. So this is fantastic. Okay, these numbers are in billions. All right, so we got a snapshot of what's going on here with Palantir. Now we're going to go over to Nvidia and look at the financials. Okay, and the total revenue is going up every year. The gross profit is going up every year. Beautiful. But there is something really important that I'm seeing here that maybe beginner traders or even experienced traders might miss. And that is that Nvidia is such a larger corporation with what they are pulling in revenue and gross profit. There's so much more stability here in this stock. Again, these are billions, and Palantir needs to add a couple decimal points to their amount of revenue to even come close to what an Nvidia would be pulling in. Nvidia is also one of the top 3 stocks as far as market cap goes on the market. So there is just a lot more institutional trading in it. There is a lot more interest in that stock to keep it up. Now, I want to be really clear about something. I am not saying that Palantir cannot do amazingly well in the next 2 to 3 years or 10 years. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that if I am interested in being more protective of my money here, I'm very interested in moving more of my trading over to Nvidia in many ways than Palantir, because Palantir kind of could be a bubble. I'm not saying it is a bubble, but it could be a bubble. And if I get stuck in a bubble, that will negatively affect my overall cash in my account, my value of my account, which will impact my future trading. So this is just a risk management thing that I am doing here by pulling back a little bit on Palantir and pulling in more to Nvidia. The premiums on Nvidia are just a little bit smaller by about 20% is what I noticed, okay, when I compared the options premiums. And what I want to also make a note of is that when you see sky-high options premiums, what is happening there is that the market makers are rewarding you for taking on risk, okay? And Palantir's options premiums are 20% more than Nvidia's. So the market is literally saying, hey, you're taking on more risk by trading Palantir. Whether you want to do that or not is up to you. I am not telling you what to do one way or the other. I am simply telling you the kinds of decisions that I make that have kept me in profit for a very long period in time.